Camping has become a favorite American pastime. Hey, it's vacation season, and no better time than to buy or rent a camper, pack up the family, and head out to see the country. To whet your appetite, we're going to bring you some highlights of a recent camping trip we took from the Poconos to Yellowstone National Park. Right now, when we go out in the open. Out in the Open is brought to you by statewide abstract and national abstract companies. For 35 years, the Pocono choice when you need a real estate title research company. By Buck Hill Firearms, the Northeast's #1 online retailer of firearms. By the Carr Firearms Group, the #1 choice of personal carry, and the Tommy Gun Warehouse in Greeley, where you will find the largest retail showroom in the Northeast for all kinds of new and used firearms. Welcome to this edition of Out in the Open. I'm Alex Zedok.
And I'm Joanne Zedok. Great show for you today. Oh,
That's because you like camping.
I do. I like all of it.
We've been camping for many, many years, and we always had motorhomes, and we would take motorhomes, everywhere. We always had the ones, smaller ones, 20 feet in that vicinity. The recent one that we had was a little bit larger. Didn't have it for a long period of time. We sold that. Decided to go ahead with a travel trailer, and so that's what we did on this trip. But the motorhomes we had, we liked. I mean, we had several different kinds, and we drove them everywhere. Would sleep 6 people, easy to drive. All had dual wheels, of course.
Yes.
And you could drive, I could drive, and you just keep going. We didn't tow a car, and most people do, or a lot of people do, I should say, because they park their motorhome. That's okay, right? If you're parked someplace,
Yes.
right. And you want to take your car.
Sure.
But if we had to go into town for some other reason or move someplace, we would just unhook everything and drive in and come back and hook up again. So made it very easy to do. But on this trip, of course, we had a trailer. Never had a trailer before. And the only difference, of course, is you've got to stop and park and then get out and either use the facilities or if you want to make a sandwich or you want to do something, you got to stop and do that. Whereas with the motorhome, you could just do it. But it wasn't bad. We stopped at some rest stops. And with the trucks, get a couple hours sleep, and you can take right back up on the road, whatever it takes. It was okay. In Ohio, we found that was interesting, right?
Yes, it was.
Interesting in Ohio, where you could stop just 4 different places along the turnpike, where you can pull over, and for $20 a night, I think it is, you can get electric, and you have a dump station.
Right, they've got.
And rest.
That's right. Everything is, your accessories are there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it makes it nice and easy. So anyway, we decided to go from here to Yellowstone, and a few of the photographs that you're going to see are from previous trips that we blended in, kind of. But just to give you an idea, there are places that you can stop along the way, and you start driving. We like to leave, even if we're just going somewhere on vacation in the car or the truck. We like to leave late at night, past the rush hour, and drive for several hours, and then take a short nap, and then of course continue our journey, and then the next night we take a long stop. So that's the way we usually do it. And so while we're not giving you any specific places to stop along the way, we kind of give you some ideas as to what we do and where we go, and some of the places that we stop that you might find interesting if you can take a trip out west. So stay tuned. We got a great show. We'll be right back. Fishermen use anise oil to mask human scent on lures and bait, and deer don't object to anise either. You can use anise-infused soap every day. Get the all-natural, handcrafted sports bar with oil of anise from Marie Soap. Go to mariesoap.com. Order today.
Experience the best at the Jug Handle Inn. Great food, great people, great experiences. Try the Jug's over-the-top tots, or indulge and enjoy in our monster burgers, or our famous award-winning Jug wings. Plus, nachos, fries, and fresh salads. Do the Jug for lunch, dinner, or a late-night snack. Just relax, unwind, and let our friendly Jug team take care of you. Come on by the Jug Handle Inn, where great food and good times meet.
Just a little bit of background. We mostly had motorhomes, but on our last trip west, bought a used 18-foot travel trailer. Now, we like travel trailers with dual wheels and sway bars, kind of just a little bit more in a safety situation. Now, the first leg, when we left Pocono, Mount Pocono, we went to South Bend, Indiana. Now, we like to leave late at night on our trips, don't we?
Yes, we do. Not as much traffic usually.
Exactly. We like to get a really good start and get going and get the first leg out there as much as we can. Now, if you want to stop in a shorter time, you can stop in Ohio on the Ohio Turnpike. You know, we saw what there are four places on the Turnpike. I think for $20 you could stay overnight.
It's convenient.
Yes, and you know, then we went South Bend to Omaha. Now we leave Route 80 at Omaha, and we go north. Now we try to get through Chicago area, so it's not during rush hour. You know, our vacation really doesn't start till we get past Chicago. We consider our vacation to start when we leave Route 80 and head north through Sioux City to Sioux Falls, where we take 90 west. Traffic really thins out and driving gets a lot easier, don't you think?
I think so, and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, you know, the first stop is at Mitchell, South Dakota, and the Corn Palace.
That was very interesting, I thought. You know, I like going places like that. They're not what you have at home, but it's very, very interesting.
Well, we've stopped there before, and of course the Corn Palace is totally decorated with corn and corn cobs, and they change it every year. And the Corn Palace is actually an event center.
Right, but what's interesting is when you're standing there looking at all of those designs and all the things out there, those are real corn on them.
Absolutely. Now, on the route, you'll find a great rest stop and a museum in Chamberlain, and the impressive sculpture of Dignity, and Lewis and Clark Historical Area also.
Well, we never get past those historical things, do we?
No. Now, further on 90 West, there's a town called Murdo, and that's the world's famous Pioneer Auto Museum. Badlands National Park is 244,000 acres and a great expanse, rich in color. You know, it was a hideout for outlaws back in the day. And, you know, it's a nice place for a selfie if you're brave or silly enough to get out on the rocks.
I don't want to get out on the rocks.
No, we stayed safe.
Yes.
And, of course, you can take advantage of the pull-offs as we do. You know, we stop for refreshments or lunch along the way.
It's so handy to be able to get, like in your little restaurant. You just get in there, fix your lunch, do the dishes, and we're on the road again. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. A lot of animals, and particularly little fat black-tailed prairie dogs. They're just everywhere, you know. They're active all year long. And, of course, there are a few that have the best view.
Don't you just love it when we're standing out there looking at the view, and it's so nice. All of a sudden, the little prairie dogs look and say, "What are you looking at in my yard?"
You know, there are mule deer there are
Yes.
bison, elk, there are pronghorn. They all adapt to Badlands living. Now, if you stay on Route 90 and don't take that little back Badlands cutoff trail there, you need to stop at Wall, South Dakota, and Wall Drug. Actually, we stopped there for our first bison burger.
It was a very tasty stop, yes.
Lots of souvenirs. You can buy clothes there, lots of shops. You got to spend you got to figure a couple hours there because there's so much to do and see.
It's something you don't walk through quickly because you'll miss too much.
That's true. Now, we try to stop and spend the night in Rapid City, which is a favorite stop of ours. Heading north, you know, you've got to make some decisions where you want to go if you want to spend the time. But, of course, there's Sturgis, and every motorcycle owner certainly knows Sturgis. And then, of course, there's a famous old Deadwood. That's loaded with history. And then Spearfish is the DC Booth Historic Fish Hatchery. Now that was a great stop for kids because, you know, you can throw some food in the water for the fish, you can see the fish, great history. And inside the fish railroad car, you got a lot of information talking to the guy, interpreter who was in there.
Yes, I did. And it was really nice because he also told me that they have a fish railroad car in Pennsylvania.
I wish we could find it. I don't know where it is. I've kind of asked some people, and I don't know, maybe it's out there somewhere. Actually, Rapid City is considered the gateway to the Black Hills National Forest. So when you go from South Dakota into Wyoming, boy, you can see everything. Mule deer, white-tailed deer, pronghorn, bighorn sheep, bison, and even mountain lions. From Rapid City, we get to Gillette, and Gillette is considered the energy capital of the nation, believe it or not. Boy, they sure have a lot of antelope.
They're really not antelope, they're pronghorns.
Yeah, and you know, pronghorn actually are the second fastest animal in the world, and the fastest in North America. And in the Gillette area, it's one of the largest concentration of pronghorn in Wyoming. There are two routes to Cody, the northern route through Sheridan and the southern route through Buffalo. Now, both go through Bighorn National Forest. Take about the same time, and we're on our way to Cody. And you decide which route you want to take. Both very scenic. All right, Cody. We're in Cody, Wyoming, and that's a town started in 1890s by Buffalo Bill Cody. On our list is the Hotel Irma, built by Buffalo Bill Cody and named after his daughter. You like the Irma. The bar at the Hotel Irma is quite famous. It's a meeting place for a lot of ranchers and people, and everybody goes there. And we usually stop there. Looks like you're having some good ribs there.
And it was worth the stop, wasn't it?
Always. We always stop there, whether we stay at the Hotel Irma or not. Spend a few hours. And, of course, you know, it's always all about Buffalo Bill. And the Buffalo Bill Center is a must-see. Now, if you're going to go into the Buffalo Bill Center, you plan to spend hours because the firearms collection in there is one of the largest in the country. All right, so we leave Cody and we head west on 20 to our destination, Yellowstone National Park. So this is our trip west. We're in Yellowstone Park and we're enjoying the scenery, enjoying the sights, and having a great time. We're acting like tourists. We're stopping at every roadside stop with a lot of other people. You can hear the cars zipping by. Some people are stopping. But the sights and sounds of Yellowstone never get old. We've done it before and we'll do it again. Yeah, American bison are everywhere, and they must be respected. You know, they are wild animals, right, Joanne? I mean, you know, this is a park, but boy, they are not tame.
They are not tame, so you don't get up close to any of them.
No, we use telephoto lenses, of course, whenever we photograph. Fishermen love the rivers in Yellowstone, and sometimes that is basically just a fisherman's destination.
That's right, because the fishing is good, and fishermen, you know how they are. They love to go fishing. One
of the must-see places, of course, is Old Faithful Geyser. That's always a situation where, you know, you go and see it, and there's a lot of interesting facts about Old Faithful. One of them is it was named in 1870, and it was the first named geyser in the park. And actually, people say it erupts every hour, but it really erupts on an average about every 91 minutes, and it's been doing that forever, it seems.
And you go by puddles and lakes and all kinds of things, but to see that eruption is really, really a good reward.
You know, in the early days, Joanne, residents and visitors would throw their clothes in the hole between eruptions and wait for them to shoot back out, thoroughly clean.
Laundry's done.
Yes, except for woolens, you know, because woolens didn't fare too well. The temperature, the water temperature reaches 204 degrees, but the steam can actually be 350 degrees coming out of that hole. And one of the other things there at the Old Faithful is the Old Faithful Inn, a magnificent, gigantic wooden building that houses restaurants and shops, and you can actually stay there if you want. A lot of places in the park, of course, to park and stay, and there are campgrounds, so that makes it really nice.
Oh, I liked it when we got to stay there too, you know, because you're already in the park, so you get to start exploring it right away.
And of course, there are a lot of hot springs and some bubbling from the ground almost everywhere you go. And, you know, bison are everywhere. And as I said, don't get close. You know, we use telephoto equipment. And you get some good pictures, the bison, because they're pretty close to the road.
You have to keep a sharp eye out because you never know what you're going to see next.
Real estate law is our business and need an abstract title search company near Stroudsburg, Mount Pocono, Pocono Lake, Lake Naomi, Blakesley. Call National Abstract at 570-646-4110 for offices near Scranton, Clark Summit, Lake Wallenpaupack, Lords Valley. And for general information, call 570-226-6229. For 35 years helping people with real estate, we're a Pocono experience you can't afford. Call 570-226-6229.
Buck Hill Firearms, located at 115 Route 390 in Cresco, Pennsylvania. You never have to make an appointment. We're open 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Buck Hill Firearms is a full-service sports shop including hunting and fishing equipment and live bait. Buck Hill Firearms NRA certified instructors are here to help you choose the gun that's right for you. Buck Hill Firearms, 115 Route 390 at the corner of Route 390 and 940 in Cresco, Pennsylvania. Check out our website at buckhillfirearms.com.
To translate a vision into reality is true innovation. At Car Arms, we not only manufacture some of the most advanced firearms on the market, we build assurance and reliability through a solid history of quality. We pride ourselves on offering concealable, performance-driven firearm systems that exceed expectations time and time again. Car Arms, American ingenuity at its finest.
So on the trip, one of the trips, we decided to go down to Pinedale, where Joanne grew up, on a ranch there. It was kind of interesting to go and see. Unfortunately, because the bridge was out, we couldn't really get back and kind of scour around, you know, right at the ranch site. But we got pretty close. That was an interesting story. So
you have to keep a sharp eye out because you never know what you're going to see next.
like these bighorn sheep, boy, they make climbing look easy. I mean, they're phenomenal. Look at that. That's just amazing.
I think it's fantastic because you don't see this except in mountainous country where they are. You don't get to see this. I think it's fantastic because Wyoming has tons of wildlife and great opportunities to take pictures.
Got a bighorn sheep make it look easy. You know, there are lots of lakes, and of course, you always see a lazy bison somewhere. And of course, you know, you never know when you're going to see mule deer doing what deer do. Now, if you spend any time in the park, you're going to see some grizzly bears, and sometimes you'll see a crowd of cars ahead, and when you get up closer, that's when you need to get your camera ready because you never know what you're going to see. And on this one particular trip, we saw this grizzly right along the road and just walking along the road. It was interesting to watch him, but you got to stay in your car.
Yes, you don't want to be outside. He's in charge outside. You stay put and take your camera and enjoy.
Usually park rangers will be nearby if there's a grizzly along the road, and they keep people in their cars and keep people safe. But you got to be aware again. I keep saying it, but while this is a national park, these are not pets. These are wild animals that you get a chance to get up close. Well, there's just too much to show you in Yellowstone. You have to see it for yourself and bring your family. There's so much out there. And we're going to head south and we're going to go through the Grand Teton National Park. I got to tell you, look at this, snow on the mountains in the summer. And this is some of the most fantastic scenery you're going to see in the West.
I agree. When I lived in Wyoming, we would always say, oh, look, it's snowing over there, but it's still warm here, so we're okay.
Once you get through the mountains and you get through Grand Teton Park and you're in there and, there's a herd of elk and, of course, the master of his harem. The scenes are phenomenal. They're big mountains. You see those little black dots? They're cows in the pasture.
Behind the cattle fences, Wyoming wildlife fits in.
This is actually where we begin our homeward journey, but for us, we take the route south on Route 191 to visit Pinedale, where Joanne spent much of her early youth. However, if you want to take the more scenic route, take Route 287 through Wind River area. 40 named peaks over 13,000 feet in this area. There are a lot of unusual things when you see out west. Beside the animals, we saw this helicopter trying to figure out what it was doing and figured out actually the terrain is so rough they use a helicopter to do logging. All right, so we're in Pinedale, Joanne. Has town look any different from it did 60 or 70 years ago when you lived there?
Yes, it does. It looks bigger. I was smaller, but today it looks bigger, so they have made some additions. But as we're looking around and everything, it's not that much bigger.
This is a small log cabin where you lived, right? I mean, it was small then.
It was small then, but they've done some additions to it, yes. Yes, in the wintertime we would use wet newspaper to tuck in the cracks in the log cabin to keep the wind out. We lived in town for just a short time, then we moved out to the Obarwai Ranch, which was one of the largest cattle ranches in the country at the time.
Now, you told me that was owned by, the ranch is actually owned by 4 brothers, and it was 4 branches put together.
Yes,
which
that's
made
right.
it gigantic.
Yes, that's true. A lot of cattle. It was an amazing, amazing place. And a lot of wildlife, too.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, that was part of the Jim Britcher Wilderness area. Is that right? The mountains in the back now?
Yes, it is. Uh-huh.
Now, if you look, we're standing right at the entrance to the Obarwai. Mm-hmm. But if you look all the way back past that new garage, because of course that wasn't there,
Right.
that little dark spot, that's about 5 miles back to actually where the ranch was.
Right. Our driveway was 5 miles down to the house. And so my brother and I used to come up by horseback to the road and hobble our horses, and then somebody would pick us up and take us to school. They would come back, get our horses, and ride home again.
That's amazing. People can't imagine that right now. Kids who go down to the corner and think it's difficult to get on a school bus and, drive to school and back. But that sounds interesting. Now, your father was foreman of the ranch, is that right?
Yes, he was, yes. He was the foreman of the ranch, and my mother was the cook, and I was the helper.
I guess when it was time to round up the cattle, you had, about a dozen ranch hands that would come in to the ranch and stay there in the bunkhouse?
They would come out and they would bring the cattle down they used to go up to the upper pasture all winter. They'd bring them down and determine how many they were going to sell.
Now, that's the Green River right there, and you
Yes.
told me a story about catching some brown trout in the Green River.
Yes, I did. We had brown trout in the Green River. One story about the Green River is that when it was Thanksgiving and we were going to have people from the other ranch come over, well, we didn't get any turkeys or anything, so what are you going to cook? So my brother and I and they're one of their kids, we went down to the river and we caught a couple dozen German brown trout out of the Green River. And they brought it back and they fixed those, and we called them turkey trout. We were kids. What do we know?
When we were leaving the ranch, the new owners of the ranch they were fixing the bridge on the Green River, so they wouldn't let us go past the bridge over to actually get to the ranch, to visit the ranch. Yeah, when we were coming out, we saw just a few elk, coming down off the mountain, and they were quite a distance away from the road. But with a telephoto lens, we were able to get a shot, and then the herd got larger and larger. And of course, leading the herd down at the bottom was the master. I don't know what he was of his harem, but he was down there, and boy, he had a lot of antlers, antlers.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Big. It's hard to see with a telephoto lens, but
yes,
he was a big boy.
No, absolutely.
All right, so we leave Pinedale and we head off to Cheyenne. Now we're heading back, and Cheyenne's another interesting city, of course, the state capital of Wyoming. And there's a woman out front of the state capitol, and they call the state capitol building, it's very historic. They call it the People's House. And you know, Cheyenne Days is the largest rodeo in the state, and that's something to see. One year we were actually there for Cheyenne Days, and boy, everybody comes from everywhere to Cheyenne Days.
Yes, a lot of people from outside of Wyoming because they had family there at one time or relatives there, and they want to come back.
Cheyenne is known for the railroad, of course, and that was a meeting point for the stockyards, and that's where all the beef would be brought into and get on railroad cars and shipped east for the growing populations. Well, that's about all the time we have. You know, it's going from Cheyenne east and through Nebraska, back to Omaha, where we turned north, of course, to start this journey, but now we're just going to stay on Route 80 and head back to Pennsylvania, and we hope that you enjoyed this little bit of a tour of one of our trips out to Yellowstone National Park. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoyed bringing it to you. We enjoyed camping, and I'm sure millions of Americans do. It's gotten easier. It's changed over the years since we started 30 years ago.
And practice makes perfect.
Yeah, keep
learn
going.
A lot about it.
It gets easier, certainly, and you don't need to be frightened. They rent these motorhomes now,
right?
And basically, they're easy to drive. And as I said in the beginning, we only drive ones with dual wheels on the back for safety.
Right.
That's just something that we think about. But,
exactly.
But they're fun. Great family way to travel. It's easy with the kids, and there's so many great places across this country.
Oh, it's amazing,
that you can
isn't
stop and see and enjoy. And I don't know why people, want to fly to the islands or fly here or fly there when they haven't seen their own country.
Exactly. You've got a lot to see right here in the USA.
Absolutely. And it makes it, and it's easy. We bought one of those. There's a pass you can buy to get in all of the national parks and that kind of thing, so it doesn't cost you money every time you go. And I'm not sure if it's just a senior pass or whether it's a pass you can buy. But we have one of those, and so it makes it easy. And we get to see a lot of different kinds of things. We enjoy camping. Camping lifestyle is fun.
Exactly. We like to camp at the beginning of the season and after the season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Beginning and after the season, the best time to go any place, even if you're just driving. Hey, we hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoyed bringing it to you. We're going to be here. We're going to be somewhere.
We're going to be out in the open.
Absolutely.